Okay, so tilt this up so you can see me. My hair is like a grease pile, so the hat it is. But another week. I hope everyone has had an amazing holiday weekend and that you enjoyed lots of time with friends, with family, enjoyed your food, or just relaxed and in general didn't have a completely shitty weekend. That's what I hope for everybody. But now that we are back into the swing of the fall, I wanted to kick off with a call today that's more motivational than actual teaching. And I think it's important to reset and recommit because we lose track of things a lot of times and not track of what it is that you're supposed to be doing, what it is that the reason why we're doing it. But the thing that happens when you lose weight slow, like we all do, you may hit points where you really do feel like you're not doing anything. And you really do feel discouraged almost, and then especially if, let's say, you have a month, whatever, you get on the scale or you do your measurements and they're not what you had hoped. The number one thing is this isn't working or I'm just doomed or whatever. But this call today is for me to reset expectations and explain to you the process of losing weight slowly, not in full, but that it's not always on the up and up. It's not always just going to be consistent. There's going to be weeks that we have to revisit and look at a lot of things. Okay. So as we go into the fall season now, before the holidays with all the delicious food, it's important that we recommit to not just our weight loss, that we recommit to our overall body becoming balanced. And that takes time. So when it comes to hormonal weight loss, I want you guys to remember, and I did a little rant on this earlier to kind of like I was taking notes for this and I was getting fired up, but I want you to remember, we don't even believe a lot of times that medicine will work in some regards, right? Or we've been told that you have to take this certain medicine for a prolonged period of time, months sometimes, before you even see any effect from it. And we're like, okay, that's the prescribed plan. And then we get into a meal plan or diet plan, way of eating, whatever the hell you want to call it. We make all these changes. We try to battle stress that we've had for decades in the way that we've only known how to battle it for decades. And somehow we want that to yield a result that a medicine wouldn't even yield. Or we expect it to be faster than a medicine would be. And that's all because all we're focused on is I've dealt with this for so long, I just don't want to anymore. And I get it. I've been there. It's freaking frustrating. It's super frustrating that even now I have friends that I give them one simple diet tweak, bam, they lose 10, 15 pounds like nothing. I don't know what's happening here. My last 10 to 15 pounds, I don't even know if it's a pound thing or a measurement, a size thing, whatever. The last little smidge that I really want to lose just for myself is it's been taking forever. And I know that that's just how I lose weight. It's how I lost the first 80 pounds, slow as hell. And I know that I can still be happy as that happens. I've done all of the growth things that I'm teaching you guys all the time. I've done that. And it still feels shitty. And I want you guys to get okay with that. I don't expect you guys to be like, I don't care if I ever lose weight. Because that's just silly to think that way. We're all human. We're bombarded daily with comparisons of how we want to be, how we want to look, what we want to get to. You'd be lying to yourself and to me if you said that it didn't cross your mind ever to lose the weight. So that being said, you need to always remind yourself. It's not about, oh my God, I need to just get to the point where I don't care anymore. And now you're beating yourself up because you're not that person yet. Girl, I'm going to tell you, you ain't going to be that person. It doesn't ever completely go away. It just becomes easier to coach yourself through. I was talking to one of my lovely clients just a little while ago, and I was saying to her, when I got back from vacation where I ate French fries and ice cream and whatever the hell I want. I drank coffee every day if I felt like it, the whole time, because that's vacation, honestly. When I got back, I realized that there's two directions people usually go in. They usually either keep the party going or they get very strict and they get very restrictive because they were bad for vacation. And I found myself really struggling not to listen to the voice in my head that was telling me to not eat much, or, only eat veggies, only eat salad. Don't even bother with the cheese and stuff. And it's like, that doesn't even work. Like, we need fats, we need proteins. I know this logically. I teach you guys this every friggin' day, but that's how ingrained it is in all of us. And it's not because of anything other than what we're exposed to every single day, and what our common beliefs are based on social media, our friends, our family, past weight losses and things like that. This all creates an issue for us to continue to realize what's actually reality. And that is, it's going to be slow, and it's not always going to be consistent. It's going to be harder for us. That is the truth. And it's very easy for the dialogue in our brain to become oh, you're just failing, or, oh, you suck, or you're going to gain it back. This is impossible. Those are the normal dialogues. You tell me in the chat if any of this is resonating with you guys, if you're like, yeah. Because for me, I had to actively tell myself, that's not what works. Just do what you know works. It's going to be okay. It was 10 days. What's the end? It's not the end of the world. These are things that I still had to coach myself through. So if there's one thing I can have you guys take away from this, is to stop expecting it to go away for you to think you're all better now. Because that's in measuring mental growth and mindset growth. It's not about completely and utterly never having bad thoughts. You are completely and utterly a different person. Congrats, poof, you think new. That's not achieving results in mindset. That's running after a perfection that does not exist, because there's nobody out there who can go from carrying extra weight, hating themselves for years, and all of a sudden talk to me a few times and then not think that way anymore. Doesn't matter how long you've been doing it. It's just about how you redirect when those thoughts come, how you feed your brain what you want to hear, what you want to believe, what you want to think in regards to your health and food. Am I saying tell yourself what you want to believe about every situation so that you could just never accept responsibility or, accountability? No. I mean, when it comes to food, tell yourself what you need to hear. Tell yourself what you need to hear about your body, about the way you look, about the way you can get through your day. Those are things that you can feed your brain that aren't delusional. I'm not saying do whatever the hell you want. Light your office on fire if you don't like the way your boss acts, whatever. That's nuts. But when it comes to what we feed our brain, why does it have to be so real? And why is it real that it'll never work, or that you suck, or that you're failing? Is that actually real? Or is that just what we tell ourselves at our lowest points? And why would you believe that version of you? If you met somebody and they were just an emotional wreck, right? They were nasty one minute, sad the next minute. They didn't want to be around anybody. They hated themselves through and through, right? Would you go to that person for advice? Would you go to them for advice about feeling good about yourself? No. So if you're feeling like that person at that moment, you should know that's not the you should accept advice from. That's the you should do everything you can to calm down, make feel better. And then later on, when you meet the you where you're of sound mind, I have the moments too, still, that's the you should listen to. And that you understands that this is a slow burn. It's okay if that's not you every day though. Just remind yourself. Let's see here. That is something I've struggled with, because the first 2 months I lost so much weight. In the third month, I've been bouncing between 4 pounds, and just reminding myself that weight gain didn't happen overnight and it's not going away overnight. Correct. And don't overweigh. Don't overweigh yourself. It's such a learning curve. Slow but permanent weight loss is something I've never had. Yeah. I was just speaking with somebody who had lost 60 pounds and gained it all back. And she didn't gain it back over the course of a year or so. She gained it back over a few months, and she's devastated because she's like, that's it. I'm stuck. I'm here forever. You know what? And I'm like, you just got to slow down. You just got to learn about your body, and it's annoyingly slow. But if you do this long enough, if you figure out how you live your best life, what you enjoy eating, how to make it a routine, that work is going to pay itself off tenfold, because that is just figuring out that's the time. Oh, I can't speak. That's the time hefty portion of this whole thing, is figuring ourselves out. At what point do you realize that it's not just slow, there's no change happening, and you need to switch things up? Good point. If it's, I'd say, it depends. If you have a very severe case of hypothyroidism or Hashimoto's, depending on where your levels are at, if you have perfect levels, everything's good, your medication's regulated, and it's been maybe 2-3 months, and you've been like diligent, and there's zero change in how you're feeling in any measurements whatsoever, then I would say, all right, we need to key it back. We need to figure out what it is that we can tweak and play around with. Okay, there's a lot of moving parts here. If you have PCOS, and depending on how severe your symptoms are, that'll be different. It is different for each and every one of us, which is why we do this program. If it's a few months and absolutely nothing happens, then we got to make a change. So let's see. That is what I've been trying to figure out after jumping back into school. When does it become just managing, though? What do you mean by just managing? And, people who have a lot of inflammation will lose weight or lose size very quickly, because you're reducing a lot of that inflammation. You still got more to go. But once you start getting into it, it slows down, because it's just the initial big burst of change, and then your body acclimates, because the PCOS is still there, So then we have to go back in and we have to see what it is that we need to tweak. I say this all the time. I mention Stephanie all the time. We had to raise her carbs at a certain point. We had to tell her to eat more. I've had other clients that I've had to say, eat more fat. We have to measure how much protein you're getting. This is all moving parts. So with that being said, to give ourselves enough time to see what works, what doesn't work, it takes time. I'm trying to figure out when does it become just managing, though? If you're feeling good all the time in terms of mental health or energy levels, or I don't know, I feel like I've just heard people who have lost weight get to a point of just managing. Yeah, I was for a while too. Like, I lost that initial 80 pounds and I was like, I'm good. Like, I'm good here. And then now I'm just like, I'm gonna try. I just want to see. Like, it's weird. I don't have a lot of emphasis on the whole weight portion of it, but managing is just keep doing what you're doing. Our bodies level out at a certain point. So if you're asking me, what weight do you have to get to before you end up just maintaining? That's an individual question, But if you're saying, how do you know the difference between you're continuing to do well or you're just going to stay there? I would say give it a month or so. If you don't lose anything in a month or two, maybe, this is all very individual. It's all based on mentality, based on the illness you have, the type of the illness you have. For people with PCOS, how we get your stress under control is the biggest thing. The biggest thing. We will lose weight so much slower if there's still continued chronic stress in your life. It's a promise, Does that answer your question a little bit better? That's why we do these personal one-on-one, either text or calls. We have our group lesson here where I can give you the hoorah message, or I could teach you a lesson about something, right? And then it applies to each and every one of us differently. So after these calls, I love having the conversations that I do with some of you guys about how it applies to you, what you've been noticing, how you've been feeling, what you connect to. So make sure you reach out after these calls, because I don't mean for you to get all the knowledge you have to on here and then you're good. That's why I'm individual with each one of you. Awesome. Okay. Now, flexibility. This is going to be the hard part. Okay. We have to be okay with us doing the wrong thing to figure out what the right thing is. And so many people, I feel, do these types of things. And if they see the scale go up at all, or they see the measurements go up at all, they either blame themselves like hugely, and it becomes just a bash sesh of yourself, or they blame what it is they're doing and say, that's not going to work. I myself have done that in the past several times. I tried a bunch of friggin' diets. I did every single one, every single time when the scale didn't go where I wanted to go, or my size didn't go down, and I had been trying and trying and trying. But what you have to do is not take it as a freak out moment. As hard as it is, your entire progress does not hinge on 2 or 3 pounds. Your future of how much weight you're going to lose does not hinge on how fast you lose 2 or 3 pounds. 2 or 3 pounds is literally a hefty dump in the morning. Like, so keep telling yourself, keep making yourself aware of the logic behind it, because emotions will take something that's this big and workable and make it this big and impossible. And it's just because you want it so bad. And I get it. But you have to keep reminding yourself and say, okay, what could have been the reasons that this happened? Everybody loves this. Journal about it. I feel like so many people hate journaling, but truly, I reflect on everything. Everything. I'm not perfect. I'll never be perfect. I don't want to friggin' be perfect. It's boring. But I journal like a maniac. And that doesn't mean I write pages upon pages like, dear journal, today I did. Like, no, nobody got time for that. My notebook is a jotted down mess of notes that I probably couldn't even understand what I wrote now if I went back. It's just a place to dump out what you're thinking, to keep track of things, to reflect on things and say, all right, I gained a little bit this month. So what was different? Do I need to start tracking my food because am I missing some stuff that's sneaking in there? Because it happens to the best of us. It's happened to me too. Okay, so I noticed this month I got stressed over way more. So what is my biggest source of stress and how can I fix that? Reflecting on things like this, you may not know the answers to these things, but text me. It gives you questions to text me and say, I noticed this. How can we work on this? Because if you're not trying to proactively pick at those sore spots to see how you can make them stronger, they're just going to continue to be there. So journaling, when you're having a defeated moment, it's not making it more aware that you're defeated. It's saying to yourself, this sucks. Let me figure out what I can do to change this. Let me figure out what this could possibly be coming from. Or let me figure out if I'm just being too goddamn hard on myself and I need to just take a breath, take a breather, and stop making it seem like I need to do this by tomorrow. We don't waste a moment of your very valuable life that you could be spending making memories, being happy, or enjoying your own time, right? Don't make the mistake of wasting a minute of that thinking you can't be that way until you see some progress, like whatever that is. I have some people who have made great progress, but if they don't do that 2 months in a row, it's like none of it matters. And not for any other reason, but the people in your life. They're dealing with half of you because you're waiting to be whole once you get to a certain size. And they don't deserve that, and neither do you. So don't think you can't be happy, you can't be content, and still say, I really do want to lose weight though. You can do both. You just don't have to beat the shit out of yourself because you're not there yet. You don't have to be staring at the scale with laser focus, just being like, please, even a pound, even a pound. Don't do that to yourself. Because what does that pound even mean? If you've spent a month making huge strides, right? You were the least routine person in the world, and you've prepped your microwave bread a few times this week. You've prepped your only dough at any given point this week. That's all progress, but you're missing that because all you're doing is harping on how much you can see in the scale or how much of a size difference you can see in a certain period of time. Your body doesn't give a shit about how fast you want to lose weight. And the people around you, frankly, they don't either. They love you for who you are. They can't wait for you to lose the weight because they hope that once you do, you'll finally like you as much as they like you. How you like them apples, right? It's crazy when we think about it. That's why I threw out my scale. Yeah, girl, throw it out. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. If you want to measure it in terms of checking your progress to make sure you're not wasting your time, you're making the right steps, by all means. But do not weigh yourself weekly. Don't weigh yourself daily. In my time losing weight, I've thought about this so many times, right? I swell up and down a lot. And I think about if I had gotten on a scale during one of my weeks where I was up, how that would have affected me sticking with things to the point where I'm at now. I really, really, really made a pact to like never weigh myself really. I gauged it on how I felt in my clothes, how I felt, you know, like if I could see my face was slimming down here, because this is like where all of my swelling usually comes. It's like my neck and the sides of my face and like under here, this area, right? I gauged it by seeing the changes in my body, being very hyper aware of my body, but not being hyper aware of a number on a scale. Because like I said, I've gotten off all cholesterol meds. I had dangerously high cholesterol. I had high blood pressure before. I was on one of the highest doses of thyroid medication, and I was still sleeping all day if I could. My hair was still coming out in clumps, right? Why do I say all this? Because had I only focused on the number and the time frame and not focused on trying to live the best that I can, I don't know that I ever would have succeeded. I don't know that I would be where I'm at right now with my health. I don't know that, you know, my A1C for my diabetes would be down. I don't know that my ovaries would be normal for the first time in my entire life. If I'd be off of cholesterol meds with hair of my own, you know, it's not full on weave that you could even see the tracks, because I was literally bald. I don't know what asshole took my money and told me I look good, but I used to have those tape-in ones that you could see, like even when my hair was over them and they were the color of my hair, that's how fine my hair was. It was like non-existent, right? I don't know that if I focused on speed that I ever would experience being free of all those things now. And I can't tell you how worth it you are. Like I can't possibly express that to you, that how much that patience is worth it. And it's not even patience in terms of, I just got to not care about the scale for like a year, because it's still putting a time frame on it. It is truly relinquishing and saying, I'm going to monitor to make sure I'm doing the best that I can, but however long this takes to figure out, I'm going to figure it out. That's the best we can do. We keep trying, you know? I don't know. I almost got emotional there for a second, but you know, it's just, it hasn't been, we all nod our heads and say, yeah, you know, slow weight loss is the best. That's the way to sustain it. Right. But when you think about it and you're on day 360 or 365 and you feel freaking miserable and stuff, like you're not going to care about it having to be slow. When you're on day 30 and you're afraid of the fact that you just wasted a month not eating all the things you wanted to eat, you need to go back and reevaluate your mindset. Because slow weight loss isn't just if it's like a pound a week, I'm okay with that, because like there's no way to push that. You can't OCD your weight loss. And coming from someone with OCD, you know, you can't control that. It's just, you got to do your best. You got to just kind of try and go with the punches. Do what makes your body feel best. Be analytical of how you're feeling. Journal as much as possible. Weigh yourself once a month, maybe. Really focus on the measurements and the pictures. And just keep trying to change course if it's not serving you. But don't think it's not working. Don't think I'm doing it wrong. Just say to yourself, no matter what I do, I have to figure out what works. You're not trapped. Well, outside of here. Okay? So let's see here. It's right there on my scale. I have high blood pressure. It's high on both sides of my family. Yeah, same. My blood pressure, I don't have high blood pressure. I have like a pre-excitement disease of some kind with my heart. Just, it's genetic. So I still have to take the lowest dose of blood pressure meds, metoprolol, and I split it in half, but I have to take something for it. So annoying. I didn't know this. This is just like a sidetrack thing here, but did you know you could withdraw off of, I think some of you guys that have been my veterans in here, just so you know, if you're on blood pressure meds, don't stop that cold turkey. It is not a good time. It really is not a good time. But I'll leave that for another convo on another day. Yeah, no, so bad. I'm just going to say, I went into full cold sweat, brown sweat from my pores, shaking, crying, adrenaline pumping, couldn't stand up for like a week. Withdrawal for the smallest dose cut in half just for not taking it for a few days. And no one ever warned me. I thought it was like, oh, who cares about blood pressure meds? You know, I take like 3 milligrams, you know, whatever. Yeah, bad news bears. So I hope that this call spoke to you guys. I hope that even if it pissed some of you guys off, even if it confused some of you guys, I'm glad. You know why? I want you to text me about it because it's my job not to have you just listen to every single thing I say, agree with it, and just like, you know, like worship me. Like that's not, I don't give a shit. You know, like I'm here to help you guys. So I want you to come to me with your concerns. I want you to come to me with your questions. I am not going to yell at you or be mad at you or say you're argumentative. It is my job to coach you through them so you can feel good about what it is you're doing. You know why this is going to work when nothing else has? Not because I'm cocky and full of myself. I am a little bit, but not only because of that, but because I'm not afraid of us having to try multiple things. And I'm not afraid to coach through hard conversations. I'm not afraid to teach you about your body. And I know that all of those things take time. So I'm in it with you. I appreciate each of you. I always want the best for each of you. And I hope that after this message, you guys reach out to me and tell me what's on your mind, what's on your heart about it, and we can have a good combo. Okay? So enjoy the rest of your night. Tell me what you think about this. And the recording will be up. I'm going to try and just post it immediately because if I wait, that's when I run into problems uploading on YouTube. So should be up here tonight. All right? Enjoy the rest of your night, guys. Talk to you all soon.